I'm going to have to do this particular subject matter in probably 2, maybe 3 different clips, maybe even as many as 4, but I'm going to actually use some pictorials because seeing is believing, they say, as I cover this. My question is, you know, many people say, well, the Bible was just man-made, man-written, and there's no evidence whatsoever. It was just written by men. And in spite of the fact that the Bible has overwhelming scientific information centuries before their actual discovery, as well as archaeological information that have been proven to be valid and accurate, and I'll go into that on a different video, discussing the scientific ideas that are in the Bible and how they actually line up with what we do know to be true about modern science, as well as its historical documentation, vast documentation that has been proven to be valid as well. But that aside, we have to stop and think about what the Bible claims to be. It is a letter written by the Creator, or inspired by the Creator, for the purpose of educating His creation about who He is. Now, how does this God, who has created a creation with tremendous mental and intellectual facilities, authenticate the message? In other words, verify that it is indeed He who has inspired this message. Well, God says that there'll be a lot of God wannabes, but He will do for man, as an evidence, to validate the message, what nobody else can do. And what He has chosen to do for us is to tell us the future before it happens. And so this is what this series of videos is going to be about. So I would encourage you to also get the other videos. Don't just stop with this one, so that you can see clearly where the things that have happened and that are in the process of happening were predicted centuries beforehand by God, and He put them in the Bible as a means to validate that it is indeed He who is sending the message. So that's what this video clip is going to be about, and the ones to follow. I'll probably have to break this up into 2 or 3, maybe even as many as 4 different individual clips. So I just ask that you sit and enjoy and ponder it. I'm not going to necessarily read out every single prophecy, because there are literally hundreds of them. But I will tell you where you can find some of these major prophecies, and we're only going to scratch the surface here, even with the 3 or 4 video clips. So I will tell you where you can find them, so you can go in and to verify that indeed it is in the scriptures. And you know, even like the Old Testament had prophecies about Jesus, probably about 300 or 400 different prophecies about Jesus, covering different details about the Messiah, about how He would come and be born of a virgin, and how a certain part of the segment of the population would weep and wail because of Him. And then we have in the New Testament Mary giving the miraculous conception, and we have how Herod, in an attempt to do away with the Messiah, killed children 2 years and under, in accordance with the prophecies, to try to do away with the Messiah. And we also have the prophecies about how He would go to the cross, how He would be nailed between 2 thieves, in fulfilling the scriptures, and so on. And these prophecies were fulfilled in absolute detail and perfectly, 100%. It's being so accurate, in fact, that historians have had to argue that these prophecies, these fulfillments of prophecies, were put in after the fact. But even that argument was overturned with the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Even though most of the Dead Sea Scrolls are in bits and pieces, one part of the Dead Sea Scrolls that was completely intact was the book of Isaiah, which from the Dead Sea Scrolls is a copy of the book of Isaiah that records the words of Isaiah at least 250 years before Jesus even appeared on the scene, including the prophecies about the Messiah and how He would, like Isaiah 53, how He would be used as a sacrifice for sin, and that kind of stuff, and how and then we see in the New Testament how this was unfolded. So the Dead Sea Scrolls overturn the idea that historians once had that these prophecies were put in after the fact, because there's no way to refute it. The Dead Sea Scrolls, dating at least 250 years before all that, records the words of Isaiah and the interesting thing is it also vindicates the King James Version of it, because even though there is a certain differences in translation from one language to another, the Dead Sea Scrolls records the words of Isaiah, and those words line up as perfectly as you can translate from one language to another, the King James Version. So it also helps to authenticate the King James Version of the Bible anyway, for its historical translation in accuracy. But we're going to get into all of that, and that's what the meaning of these particular tapes are. And I'm going to also give you some visuals so you can actually see how these have been unfolding before our very eyes. And things are being set up to fulfill the Scriptures, and even to fulfill some of the prophecies that we see in Revelations and whatnot. So we're going to definitely really get into this. And like I said, it's probably going to take 3, maybe 4 videos. So follow along with me, because this is how God has chosen to validate that He is indeed the one sending the message, to tell us the future before it happens. And think about it, if someone today claimed to be God, honestly, wouldn't we ask Him what's going to happen? And if He did it precisely and consistently and accurately each and every time, wouldn't we have to wonder just a little bit? So that's the purpose of this, to show you how prophecy is, even in our own generation, being fulfilled from prophecies that God had recorded in His Word for man, literally century upon century ago. So sit back and enjoy, and look for my videotapes that follow this one. This is just the introductory tape, and enjoy them. But also ponder them, really think about them. And I will tell you the scriptural references where these things can be found, so you can go into the scriptures and see that indeed they're really there. So God bless and enjoy.